Hi everyone, and welcome to another video of Terraform. My name is Tia from DevOps Easy Learning, and today we'll be going through a Terraform import variable, right? What are Terraform import variables? Sometimes when you are running Terraform, if you don't define a variable in the variable file or in the variable.tf var file, what happens is that Terraform will prompt you to kind of put that variable as runtime, right? And that's where that's just a single variable. Let's say you have multiple variables that you want also to pass into Terraform at runtime. You can go ahead and create a special variable file. And when you want to run Terraform, you can basically say, hey, I want you to use this specific variable file to deploy my resource, right? The same thing apply if you guys know what hem is. Hem basically have a default value, and also hem have a value maybe per environment. Hey, let's say you want to deploy something like Argo CD. You can have Argo CD you can have the value file for dev. You can have the value file for QA. You can have the value file for production. And when you want to run the hem upgrade install command, you basically let hem know that, hey, I want you to use this specific value file, and hem will go ahead and do so. The same thing also apply in Terraform if you want to do that, right? Let us jump in here and kind of see one example. If you click here, it is going to open a GitHub repository where we have one example, where I have one example here that I will be using. I will go ahead and make sure also that I put the link to this GitHub repository in the description below, so that if you want to follow the same step, you are more than welcome to do so. Now, I don't really like to open my code here and just using GitHub console. What I'm going to do here is that I've cloned this repository already and I have it on my local computer. I will go ahead and kind of copy the link to this, the whole path here. And I'll move to my local, and I'm going to kind of move to the root of the repository first. So I type ls, I have everything here in code, and this is the root of this repository. And oops, if you type ls, I can go ahead and I can cd here to the path that I grabbed from GitHub, and this is the code here. I can go ahead here and type code and hit enter here to open this one in VS Code. Now, this is the main.tf. This is what we're seeing on GitHub, right? We have a couple of files here, and let me go ahead and explain the purpose of each file here thoroughly so that you guys will really understand. Here, I have this one here. This is just the provider where we set up here the Terraform block. We basically define the required version that we want, also the required provider that we want to download. Also, we kind of have a random provider because I will be using a random resource here, maybe to create a unique bucket name, right? To create just a random string that will be appended to a bucket, so that our bucket name will be unique throughout the entire AWS, right? And here we'll have the region where we are going to deploy. Now, let us move on here to variable. Variable here is where we kind of define all the variable that we'll be using to create all these resources, right? In hem, if you're aware of hem, this will be something that we call a default variable. This will be what we call a default a default value. Now, in hem, what happens is that when you don't set something, let's say you have your default value and you can create another value per environment. What happens is that you are going to put exactly what will be changed in per environment. And if you modify anything in there, and you have a default in the default value, it is going to override that. But if you don't put anything, it will go ahead and check whatever you have also in the default value and use it. Terraform also kind of works the same, right? In this case, we define all our variable here, and we also specify some default value. We just put some default value just in case in our actual Terraform.tf var file here, or auto.tf var here, or this random.tf vars, if the user does not provide anything it should go ahead and look what we have in the default value and go ahead and use it. That is what the variable file basically stands for. We define all variables that we're going to use. There is one here called the auto.tf vars. The Terraform, the Terraform.tf vars, Terraform.tf vars, it is a special file that Terraform understands. When you trigger Terraform, Terraform will go ahead and look this Terraform.tf vars first. If Terraform find out that you have defined any variable values in this file, Terraform will make sure that it will go to the actual variable file and override any default value that you set in. And if Terraform do not find a value in the Terraform.tf var file, it will go in the variable file here and check if you can set any default. If you set a default, Terraform will go ahead and use that default. In case Terraform check the variable.tf vars file, Terraform did not find any variable that you set up, and it can check also the variable file, and there is no default value. When you will trigger Terraform, Terraform is going to prompt you through the command line to set the value that you want. And if you set the value to the command line, yes, Terraform will go ahead and deploy the resource. And this one, Terraform understand this file automatically. You will not take any further action so that Terraform will go ahead and deploy your resource with this. Now, there is another one here called Terraform, just like auto.tf vars. Let's say you are working with Terraform and you want to kind of create multiple resources. For instance, you want to create an EC2, an S3 bucket, maybe an EKS control plane or EKS node group, or even the VPC. And you want to structure. You want the VPC to have a special variable file. You want an EKS control plane to have a special variable file. You want an EC2 to have a special variable file. And you also want your control plane to have a special variable file. What we can do here is that you can create variable file per resources. Now, if you want Terraform to kind of detect all those variable file automatically, those variable file must end with auto.tf vars. When you have a variable called auto.tf vars, Terraform will load that automatically at runtime. And that means Terraform will understand anything that is variables.tf, anything that is Terraform.tf vars, and anything that is auto.tf vars. Terraform will be able to load all those variables automatically at the runtime. But if you create any other variable, which is like this one, random.tf vars, that means you give any name .tf vars, which is not Terraform.tf vars, Terraform will not load that variables at runtime. That means this one, Terraform cannot figure out that you want him to use this value. And what you are going to do here is that while running Terraform, you have to kind of pass this one through the command line at runtime. And this one apply. It look like this will be the one that apply in hem, because in hem, you can have a variable file for QA, you can have a variable file for production, you can have a variable file for dev. And when you say hem upgrade install, you go ahead and pass the variable file that you want to the command line. Let me repeat it because this is really important. Terraform understand anything that is variables.tf vars. This is where you define the variable that you want to use. Terraform understand anything that is Terraform.tf vars file. This file will be loaded automatically when you trigger Terraform. Also, Terraform understand any file that is auto.tf vars. This variable file will be loaded also automatically. Now, if you create any files again that end with tf-vars, which is not terraform.tf-vars, Terraform will not load that file automatically, and you will have to pass that file through the command line at runtime, so that Terraform will go ahead and use all these values that we define in. Now, let us see what we have here in main.tf. In main.tf, it is like kind of really simple. What we are doing here is just creating one EC2 instance, and here we want to create just a random string here, and this random string will be used here in this resource called S3 bucket to make sure that our bucket name is unique throughout the entire AWS, right? And here we basically use interpolation here to create a bucket name. Here we say var.bucket name, and if we go to the variable file, we define the variable called bucket name. Whatever value we put it in there, it will come and block it here, because let me kind of go to terraform.tf-vars file and see if we have the bucket name here. The bucket name should be in auto.tf-vars. In auto.tf-vars, I kind of put that my unique bucket name. That means this is going to grab my unique bucket name and put it here, and it's going to take the result of the random string that we basically create, that was created here in main.tf, and append that to my bucket name so that my bucket name will always be unique. Now, let us open this code now through the command line and play a little bit with that. If you pull up my terminal here, I say pwf, I am in the right path. If you just say, let us go ahead and type Terraform init, and this will go ahead and download the provider. It's taking a little bit of time. Okay, we can say Terraform plan, and we'll see what's going to happen. What is happening here is that Terraform is complaining already that what is the value of the random of the var.bucket underscore surface underscore link. If we check this, you guys will see that this value basically it's being defined in what we call random.tf-vars. What happened here is that Terraform kind of check the tf-vars file. Terraform noticed that that variable wasn't defined. Terraform kind of hook over to the variable file here to see if the default value, if we have a default value, if we kind of copy this and search it, you guys will see that we don't have a default value. If you go in here and search, you guys can see that a default value was not set. Terraform say, hey, wait a minute. What do you want me to use? Because Terraform also check any auto.tf-vars file here, and Terraform didn't find anything to use. And that is why it kind of prompted us. Why? Because Terraform cannot load this file here called random, like I explained. Anything that end with .tf-vars and which is not terraform.tf-vars cannot be loaded automatically. And that is why Terraform cannot see anything. Let us go ahead here and kind of add a default value here and see if we say default, and we put something here, what will happen? Terraform will go ahead and kind of load that. We say, if I say default here, we say bucket.surface.length. Let's say we want this to be 10. And if you save this and I go ahead again and cancel this and type Terraform plan, you guys will see that Terraform will move to the next element that it will not be able to find. If you cancel this and say Terraform plan, as you guys can see now, it's moved to the number. Why? It moved to the number because right now we have the default value in the variable file, what I just explained. And if we check this random, we will see that Terraform is not able to find this bucket surface number. because the default value was not defined. And if you click here, you guys will see that's the number. The default value was not defined. If you even define the default value, Terraform will move to this one until it figure out where the values are, right? And if you want to put that through the command line, that is good. But when you are kind of doing something with Terraform, do not put value through the command line. Why? Because if you want to use a CI tool like Jenkins to trigger Terraform, you will not be there to punch all those values, right? I mean, I will go ahead and kind of remove this default value here, and we'll go ahead and kind of run it now the proper way by using this some instructions here that we'll have in the README file. Let me go to GitHub here. We'll have some little instruction in the README file. In the README file here, how are we going to do that? Let's say those input variable. We can go ahead and just say Terraform plan. And when we say var equal, we can give maybe the actual variable value. But in this case, what we are doing here is that we want to load a specific variable file. And here we can say Terraform plan. We use the var file. A var file is where we want to define, we want to tell Terraform to use a specific variable files, right? And that variable file is random.tf vars. Why? Because all the value that are in here, Terraform doesn't know how to load these values automatically. But other files that we have in, like anything that is .auto.tf vars or anything that, and as you guys can see here, Terraform understand how to load anything that is star.auto.tf var, anything that is star.auto.tf vars will be loaded automatically. Anything that is terraform.tf vars will be loaded automatically. And any other thing that is that end with .tf vars, which is not terraform.tf vars, will not be loaded automatically. This is the takeaway. Now, if you go ahead now and run Terraform plan now and use and point to a variable file and just go ahead and say, hey, also, while running Terraform, please use this variable file also. And hit enter. As you guys can see now, the plan is going to run successfully. Why? Because Terraform is able to figure out all the values file, is able to figure out every single thing that it needs. And we can just go ahead here and use the Terraform apply, and we give that variable file. And if you hit yes here, you can always use the auto approve so that you will not have yes, right? And most of the time before you use auto approve, always make sure that you check your plan and everything looks good. You can just type Terraform and use the -- auto approve. Now, this will go ahead and launch the resource, right? And when that is done, we'll go ahead and destroy that and destroy everything. Yep. Let's see where we are so far. Everything was created. I don't really need to go to AWS console and check this. If you want to do so, when you deploy it, you can go ahead and check that. But the only thing that I'm going to do here, I'll just go ahead and destroy this. Terraform destroy. And it will go ahead and shut down everything. Please make sure that when you can use something, when you deploy a resource in AWS to test something, that you also destroy that at the end, right? Or otherwise, AWS is going to charge you. And I hope this video was really informative. Please, if it was, let me know in the comment below so that I can go ahead and kind of like write more content like this and shoot videos. That's it. Thank you. Bye-bye.